And we're
Hey, there we are. Well, welcome everybody to, what is this? Welcome to Burn It All. I am the captain, your Captain RG3, and bringing it to you one more time this Thursday with my co-host, Triplet Dad. Let's see if I can add him here. And the Chrispyman. What's happening, fellas?
How are you, sir?
I'm crispy. How you doing?
You're crispy?
I'm
crispy.
crispy.
I'm good. I'm good. Weather's getting nicer, that's for sure. And I wish the weather was getting nicer in the markets. That's one thing. But hey, that's for another day, right? Well, everybody, today we're back here, Burn It All. We're going to be talking a little bit about one of the brands that I like a lot, which is My Father Cigars. The history behind them is they were founded by a guy by the name of Don Peppin Garcia, and he I guess during the Cuban embargo days he rolled out of Cuba, but he was like a master roller. He was rolling for Cohiba, for Monte Cristo, for all the bigs in Cuba, and then he blew out and went and made his own brand. And now we're here today, and we're gonna light some of them up, and we're gonna chat a little bit about it. Guys, you got anything to say?
No, it sounds like crypto, man.
Yeah, it does. One thing I do have to say is I know I told a couple of folks that DCC was going to be here today.
Yeah,
he sent a message to and he couldn't make it, but I'm sure we're going to have him on in the future.
Yeah. Not that I don't like you guys, but I was like all excited for Miguel to come on. I was like, oh wow, what a big surprise! Now it's like, wah, wah.
We have a sufficient substitute though.
We do.
So we just it seems like we're having to wait until she comes on.
Well, she's got to make an appearance.
Yeah.
Hey, well, the reason I said it's like crypto, cigars is a small world, right? And so, like, if you're working with a bunch of people and you're making cigars, you're like, hey, boss, dad, uncle, whatever, I want to make my own, and then you branch off. And so a lot of these companies are very interrelated, sometimes even by marriage, I think.
It does seem it's like a very Formula One, right? You have kids going after ex-wives of previous racers whose father had the championship in the 1970s, right? It's very integrated, very integrated.
ladies and gentlemen, we have the lovely Wild SJ, and why? Because she is also a cigar aficionado of the crypto world. How you doing there, SJ?
I'm wonderful. I'm doing real splendid. It's a lovely day. I'm celebrating in my garden. I bought myself a fire pit, so I'm gonna light my cigar, and then I'm gonna light that fire pit up. And
all right, well, let's go ahead and hack and slash
no fire department.
That's awesome.
Right. So I went a little off script and got the Don Peppin Garcia Vegas Cubanas. Still the same family, still the same company, I suppose. They are. They're all. I mean, obviously, Don Peppin was the founder of the My Father cigar brand, and I really like this stick. And I'm going to go ahead and fire this one up. What do you guys got?
I have a Judge, My Father Judge. I don't know if you guys can see that. Oh yeah, it's a nice stick. I decided to go big this time because last time my cigar lasted half the show. So we went full tilt boogie. If I could have got one of these 2 inches longer, I would have. This is the biggest My Father I could find.
Nice.
Okay. They've got.
We'll get you.
They actually make that in a bigger. What's that? The other size above the. They're huge. They're like
Yeah,
60 ring.
the it's bigger than Churchill.
We got to give you like an 80.
These are like 60s.
Yeah, 60 is about the highest normally, right? 80s start getting way up there.
When I first started smoking cigars, people told me that you should smoke your age in ring gauge.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe
I
I
don't
do.
know either.
I do like a 60 though.
It was a rule of thumb, right? And that kind of blew everything out of the water when all those nubs came out, and you have these big giant cigars that are only 2 inches long, right?
Yeah, they're about 4 inches and like 60 ring gauge.
Yeah.
The nub.
It seems to me you waste a lot of cigar there. Doesn't it seem that way to you?
Well, that's what the customer wants. That's what the customer gets.
All right. What are you smoking, SJ?
So this was in my tiny humidor that I have on my desk. This was the only My Father I happen to have, and it's the La Opulencia. Ooh, so fancy!
That's
I like
a nice
the label.
cigar.
Yeah, it's got this nice little cap here.
Nice.
Smells like a cigar. Oh, actually, that smells real nice. I'm excited. Pull this off.
How about you, Chrispyman?
So I'm going with I think it's pronounced Le Bajou, 1922 cigar.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's from 1922, guys. So, it'd be nice. Handmade cigar from Nicaragua. Supposed to be spicy and intense. So I'll let you know. It's supposed to be a very premium cigar. It was expensive though. I mean, it was like $16 up here for that.
So, Chrissy, when I've never really looked at or remembered the price of cigars from back when, and I smoked so few of them back then that I really didn't, worry about the prices. But versus prices going up, what was the average, spend on cigars back then that you'd be looking for on premium cigars?
I'd buy that for $1. Hey man, I was like $4 when I started. Right? And that's not that long ago. It was only like 2014-ish. I mean, I did have some cigars before that, but before I started buying cigars.
Yeah.
It was probably, but I told you guys last week, I started at $1, right?
Yeah.
$1 a cigar. But yeah, I started thinking cigars were expensive when they were $7 or $8. And so now, for the ones I really like, I'm like, well, I'm not spending $36 on one of these.
Oof. I know.
I got better place to put these funds, but
I've been smoking cigars since probably 2002, 2003, maybe, right?
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of sticks back then. And I'm in Northern California, which is probably the most expensive place on the planet Earth to live, right? But you could get a halfway decent sticks for under $10, right?
Oh yeah.
Back then, but not many, and those were highly sought after sticks. People would nab them up. Those bins would be empty when you would go back, right? This cigar here, I know I could get it online a lot cheaper, and this thing was like $22 for this Judge.
Yeah.
Where I went yesterday, went with Hex Monkey, picked this up.
Yeah, they're not much cheaper even when you buy them by the box online. You know what I mean? You're still paying like $20 a stick.
Yeah.
So speaking of expensive cigars, my bestest friend in the whole world, she lives in Vegas, and I spent some time out there recently. And the last time I had been to Vegas, which was about a month ago, I asked her if she'd be down to go to a cigar lounge with me and have a cigar. And she agreed. She was like, yeah, sure. So we go. And because I did this my first time, I had her do the same thing. And just to see if you even kind of like the whole deal, right? I said, try a flavored cigar, because that kind of like that's what broke me into it at first, right? I know better now, but I just wanted to, I was like, here, just try this. Just see if you even like the process of doing this. So she had one. She enjoyed it. We had a good time. So this time around, I had found out that one of her favorite basketball players, Kelsey Plum, has her own cigar. So it turns out one of the only places you can get the Kelsey Plum cigar is at 8 Lounge in Vegas. So she's going through things, and I'm real proud of her for all that she's kind of gone through recently. I'm like, all right, I'm going to take you out. Let's go. We're going to go to the lounge. You're going to get that cigar. I'm going to, I'll buy you that cigar. We'll smoke that cigar and have a good time. So we go out there, and I'm like, oh yeah, we're looking for the Kelsey Plum cigar. Like, oh yeah, of course. She had done her like opening party, I guess, or her launch party of that cigar at 8 Lounge. So I don't know where else. I've never really asked for it anywhere else. I'm not sure if many places carry it. And so, I go to check out, and I end up getting myself, what did I get? I got something different. It wasn't a Plasencia, which is what I normally smoke, but yeah, her cigar was, it was $60, so 60 something dollars just for the
plum.
Okay, for the plum, yeah.
I would love to try that.
However, it was amazing.
Really?
It was really, really good. I mean, I'm sure, because Vegas and the premium and that kind of place, right? I would still pay close to that to smoke it again. It was that good the whole way. Like, she and I like shared cigars back and forth, and I was like, I'm jealous. I was jealous the entire time. It was a great smoke. So
having a Plasencia in your hand and being jealous, that must mean it's a badass cigar, right?
No, it was fantastic. Like I was
like, I ain't buying none of it.
Crispy and I for $60 get 20 cigars on cigarbid.com.
$5 a cigar, baby.
Right. Oh yeah, all day, every day. I got an order coming in Tuesday.
Yeah, some of them aren't too bad, even though they're the lower price.
Yeah. I get like 4 or 5 different emails every week from Famous, from Cigar Thief, from all the others out there, and whenever anything that I like goes on sale, I'll grab a couple or try and get a box. But yeah, the boxes are so expensive anymore. It's crazy.
By the way, welcome everybody. Pulse Ray Vision, Abdella, who is Believe in Yourself,
Wizard,
or as
we got RH Max,
Hex Wizard, Tam Tam. Welcome, Tam Tam.
Hey,
Farmer.
in there.
Paul's Jitsu, the Mr. Abdul. He's in every stream all the time. Paul Sarika, how are you? Nice to see you in here.
Yeah, Discourse Syndicate is here.
Yep.
I forgot that I'm using that account and not my own. I need to join with my own. I was a last minute addition, ladies and gentlemen. DCC was supposed to be on the show tonight. However, he had something come up, unable to make it. So I looked in my humidor, found my father, and said, "Why not?" And
so
these are two extra smoke. You guys wearing the glasses, like I don't know, Crispy, how you do it, but like I can't. The smoke seems to get in my eyes a lot. So I've decided that I'm now that cool chick that wears sunglasses at night and inside. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I got 2 fans running, so that helps.
There aren't many friends of mine that could go into their humidor and reach in and find a My Father cigar, let alone lady friends that could go into their humidor and pull out a My Father cigar. That is
That's
a
true.
different thing. That's very cool, SJ.
I get a lot of looks and a lot of surprised people when I go into a humidor and I know what I'm looking for, I know what I want, or I name a couple brands, you know, they're like, oh, you know what you know. Yes.
So I know that you have a helper with being buddies with RG3, but since you're new to this, right? Kind of go into how you picked your first humidor, what you used to do upkeep on that. Are you doing Bovita packs? Are you doing distilled water? How are you keeping your cigars, and just the whole process of just getting into it?
Yeah, sure. So part of the reason I ended up getting the humidor was because I knew I was going to be saving cigars from when RG did his cigar rolling encounter at the Pulse Masters golf tournament that we did in Vegas. And I just got a small one because I was like, you know, I know me, like I'm not going to be smoking these every day, even though I'm smoking them way more than I have been. But so I picked a smaller one that could fit in my bus and on a little desktop that I have. It does have a gauge on it, and I just kind of read through the instructions. For the first like 2 days, I just kind of left some distilled water in it. It is all cedar. That's really important. You got to make sure that you're using a cedar wood humidor box, and ended up, just made sure that the humidity and, lucky for me, it, even being exposed kind of to the elements with living in the bus, it works great. So I did the distilled water, took that out, and then now I use the Bovita packs. So I've got 2 of them in there because I think that I think I just had one for a while, and that didn't see, it was like on the low end. So I added a second. I have a larger one and a smaller one, and then when I added that smaller one, it stays within a better range. And I've got probably I have 2 tiny little cigars in there, and then maybe another 5 about this size, or,
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What are you looking at on your range for humidity? What number are you usually at?
Like 69, 70.
Nice.
Yeah.
Perfect. That's
Yeah.
perfect. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
So I kind of cheat, right, with these guys. You see these gel packs?
Yeah.
There's back there. So a lot of people don't do this, but I recycle mine.
Can you?
So I've got a
100%.
It works, right? So I got a couple hundred of them now, and because every time I get a free one,
All right, so explain how you do
boy,
it.
I sound like a cheap ass.
I did, because I know, once they dry out, I didn't know if you could stick them in water, if you put them in,
No.
How do you do it?
I'll tell you what I did with it. Is I got a Tupperware container, distilled water, and I took a smaller Tupperware container with no top, put my packs in it, and then let it float on top, and just close it up, and so it just keeps it humid. And then they they don't always last forever. I mean, but some of them die, but most of them, they do fine, and so I between that and the crystals, right, because of my humidor, I've got one of those pads,
with the crystals
where you load the crystals in, but that's kind of a pain in the ass too, because you got to keep them watered.
Yeah. You got to pull your cigars out, pull the pad out the bottom, make sure the crystals are moistened back up. I've heard of people using those those, what do they call those, Floby things or whatever, the little round things?
Yes. What I do on mine is since my humidor is like a small wine fridge, right? I fill the bottom tray full of distilled water, and I put my empty those little Bovita packs on a shelf, and that water constantly keeps those full of humidity, right? So those packs are at the same humidity that my humidor is at, and that way I always have a whole bunch of extra cigar bags that I keep on top of my humidor from when I come back, right, from any kind of cigar shop. And I'll just grab one of those packs, throw it in there, take the amount of cigars I want to take with me on a trip or vacation. And I've got probably 15, 20 little freaking Bovita packs on there just waiting to go into a travel bag.
Nice. Hey, real quick, shout out to to my boy Sasto. You guys met him in Vegas last time we were out there. He's the local that got us hooked up with En Fuego Cigar Shop.
Nice.
He's in the chat room watching us. What's up, dude? So
Hey, thanks.
yeah, that's a great lounge too. I mean, you know, like SJ was saying, you're like going to eight lounges, like you're gonna pay 3 times as much for a stick. I mean, you're gonna get the music and the, you know, the whole thing and the outdoor, indoor, and the nice atmosphere and everything. Party atmosphere. I'm not gonna say nice. I'm gonna say party. And but going to En Fuego off the strip was like, you know, going into your living room, sitting down, hanging out with the fellas, and
Yeah, the guys there are awesome.
Yeah.
When I go out there, there was one day I was tired after work. I actually left a little early from the gig that I was doing, and I was like, man, like I just want to go chill and have a cigar. So I went to En Fuego and just hung out. They actually put on little known fact. I grew up watching WWF wrestling, and one of the guys there had been to WrestleMania in Vegas that just happened, I guess, a week or two ago. And so I had just finished my cigar, and I was at the very end of it, and he starts putting on WrestleMania, and I get all stoked, and I'm just like, I need another cigar. First time in my life I had one cigar after another, but I wanted to stay and hang out and just watch some WrestleMania. And one of the guys, I over, like, you know, as I'm sitting down and everyone's kind of talking, you know, I overhear one guy be like, she smokes cigars and she watches wrestling. Is this woman real?
Yeah, that's a catch right there. That's
they were probably all going nuts.
That's a catch. Like 10 points. If you're a 7, that brings you up to a 9.5.
And if you had a truck and a boat, in a boat, you'd be like,
I had a truck once.
Yeah.
Hey, here's I got a marketing idea for you there, guys. So you know how we get these bags? Usually, I guess it depends, right? So a lot of places you go get a cigar, sometimes they get a baggie, right? They just give you like a baggie, or they won't even give you a bag. But then they have these printed ones, right, that you can get that are like, I don't know if it's cellophane, but plastic, you know, that hard plastic. It's meant to break down if it gets left out in the sun or whatever.
Yep.
Those can be used for marketing. But I saw something I hadn't seen before. Maybe just haven't been around enough places. I went to a place that was like looking for sustainable stuff, right? And they had paper bags, like lunch bags, that on the inside they had a film on them. You know, like kind of like a wax film, and worked just the same way. But anyways, those are all, you know, depending how you feel about the eco stuff, right? You start making cigars, you get a bunch of cigars, you could be branding your own Hex pulse chain bag, you know?
That would be awesome. Or some burn it all match boxes. That would be cool.
There we go.
Burn it all.
Hex Glenn, what's up, Hex Glenn? I told a story about you last week. You gave me that Cohiba. That was awesome.
Well, you get some good sticks. So I'll give a confession and a little story.
Uh-oh.
Last time we were in Vegas, I brought sticks for both of you guys. I brought those Valentino Siestos out for you guys. And they the label on those things are very close to an Opus X.
Yeah,
and
I thought you gave me an Opus X when I looked in my bag. That's what I said. I said, I don't remember buying this Opus X. And I looked in my bag. I said, I got an Opus X in my humidor right now.
Yeah, I accidentally grabbed the Opus X and handed it to you versus the Valentino Siesto.
It looked dead on. It was awesome.
But that's how you build up your cigarma, right?
After I realized it, I was like, oh shit! Well, I can't say anything about it. I gave it to him. So
it's like cigar karma, man.
Cigarma, yeah.
No, don't worry. Abundance mentality. Somebody will give you a whole bunch of cigars now. You'll be good.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, I got that Cohiba from him, from Hex Glen. That was nice.
This is really nice, by the way. I'm a fan.
Yeah, I like mine too.
Well,
it is pretty good taste to it.
Holding up. really will. I love that. I definitely am the how long can I keep the ash on the cigar kind of person.
Oh yeah. Well, there's a difference too when you're smoking, right? If you find a really, really good cigar and you'll be there smoking, and if you're not paying attention, like, if you're not like, trying to get rid of the ash all the time, all of a sudden you look up and you'll have a perfectly formed ash.
Yeah.
Like right to the end. And it can go good. I've gotten them as far as 2, 3, 4 inches.
Nice.
Yeah. I see Hex Deck 16 is out there in the chat.
Oh, look at that.
He's a Maduro fan. That's what I like smoking. I like heavy.
AJ Rip City, he's in there. What's up, AJ? He keeps wanting to come on this show, but he doesn't smoke cigars, so I told him he couldn't. Got to pick up a vice to come on the show, sir.
You got to come with
pick up a vice.
No electronic cigars.
I told Fast Abdul he might be able to fake his way on here with a plastic cigar, but then you'll get booted.
Sounds like something he'd figure out.
With those antics, yeah.
Yeah, he's in it for the tech.
Yeah.
Another good idea, maybe. We go pass this guy along to you guys. You know how we're so religious and we're also holy because we smoke so much, right? And then you end up with some things with holes in them. I have thought I've used smoking jackets before, and I just thought what a great idea. Got to bring that together with our merch to have like a some sort of a nice, well-designed smoking jacket. And to go with it, of course, you could get smoking slippers, right? There's such thing, right? Because I guess when back in the day, which I wasn't around in the 1800s, guys, but people would have special slippers that they would wear to go smoke and a smoking jacket, and it kind of makes sense, right? Because you take the jacket off, the smoke stays with the jacket.
Yeah, I leave mine outside.
I like to keep all my smoke with me, so I'm not wearing a smoking jacket. I don't want to spoil the wife, right? So I'm just keeping all the smoke on me. I'm going inside. She goes, "You smell like cigar." I said, "That's true." That's because I smoke cigars. I'm in the garage in a little man cave room that I made in here, and it's air conditioned and everything. But man, in the summer it could get hot, and so then I start wearing a smoking jacket. Then I have to wear a smoking jacket during the summer. So I'm just thinking ahead. I don't want to wear a smoking jacket in the summer, so I'm not going to wear one in the winter.
I see Yellowtail out there. Yeah, man. My first hookah was at the Purple Caterpillar up in Portland, Maine. I'm not sure they're there anymore, but that was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun with that.
Pete, Chad, we are not smoking Cubans today. Each one of these has a different origin. Where's yours from? Do you guys know where yours is from? I think mine's Nicaraguan, right?
Yeah, these are all Nicaraguan. Well, my father's are. I mean, the blends, of course, they change the blends up, but they're from Esteli, Nicaragua. That's where my father's from. My father Cigars is at their factory.
I thought you were from California.
Yeah, very true.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna go down there for one of those tours. That's what I want to do. That's on my list.
For what?
Could we handle that? How many cigars do you smoke on one of those tours, bud?
I'm sure a lot, but you get some inside access, and it's usually invite only, and it's not cheap. I guess it depends on the tour, but not all the farms, or if you want to call them factories, are real interested in visitors.
So RG, you mentioned that my father's from Nicaragua. What do you know about this brand? You were saying, like, I'd love to know the smoke you chose is a little different, right? So what can you tell us about the history and where they came from? And
it's the man himself, Don Peppin, who is the father of my father Cigars. He, I don't know exactly the story from how he got out of Cuba, but he was a hotshot roller. He rolled for Cohiba. He rolled for Monte Cristo. And then, during the Cuban embargo, when the U.S. shut down all imports from Cuba, all of these people fled and went to Nicaragua, the Dominican Republic, Honduras. They took the seed, they took their skills, and they left. And ever since the 60s, they've been building farms, factories, rolling cigars. Families have been in it, and like you said, there was a lot of mixing of the families and people doing this and that and the other, and they've all done really, really well. I mean, the mystique in the 90s was the Cuban cigar. If you can get a hold of a Cuban cigar, it was something special. And at that time, to me, a cigar was a cigar. But of course, when you think something special, you think something special. Grabbed a hold of a couple of Cubans here and there, thought, it was really bitching and cool. But not until just recently, with all my travels and stuff, have I realized that Cubans ain't all that. The New World stuff is really good. It's all really, really good. And in fact, the Cubans that I have smoked have not impressed me. Either they were meh, or they, and I guess I just haven't had a good one yet. I haven't had enough of them to say I've had a good one.
Yeah, that's what I was going to suggest to you, is maybe this has to do with the kind we get our hands on, right? Because I bet when I go to Orlando, and I forget the name of the place that's down there, they have this like whole bar that's a cigar humidor, right? You walk in, the whole building's a humidor, and they got a lot of stuff there that I suspect is crossover. Anyways, there's some pretty tasty cigars, right? Which I kind of felt like, even though I've never been to Cuba, kind of felt like this must be kind of what it might be like. If I was over there, maybe. I don't know. You might be surprised.
You can still get some pre-embargo stuff also, right? So like Camacho, prior to them rebranding and having those big gaudy labels, the orange, the light blue, and the yellow label, the red label, Camachos, right? They used to be a very simple golden black label, and those are pre-embargo Camachos. Those are good, and they pop up all the time on cigarbid.com. They're not a sponsor of us, right? I might have mentioned that already 2-3 times on this stream, but I get a lot of cigars from there, and whenever I see the pre-embargo Camachos come up, I'm buying them. Please don't bid against me.
So that means that cigar's literally been aged that long.
Pre-embargo has pre-embargo tobacco. That's what they say. Yeah.
Wow. Because that's from the 60s, right? I mean, that's early 60s.
That's a long time.
That's a long time. That's a long time.
Long time. Yeah.
So I'm curious. Oh, go ahead. This is for you. Were probably more on topic than I'm kind of switching it up. So
yeah, go ahead. Curious. Be curious.
So I am curious with, me being kind of newer to the whole cigar scene. So we started with our Arturo Fuente. Right now we're doing My Father. What are the best well-known, what are these the most well-known brands? Are these the brands that have been around the longest? Like, what sets them apart? Why did we choose them?
I would say we've been choosing the ones lately that are more appropriate for the day, right? Last week, Arturo Fuente was our first show, right? And that's just the staple of the cigar community. Arturo Fuente is the one, right? And now I think we're just going to start going down the list of some of our personal favorites, things that are easily accessible, especially in the United States. Some of these are going to be very hard for other people to get outside of the United States, truthfully, because I think we smoke them all. Not a whole lot of My Fathers head into Spain or the UK for that matter, or Australia, right? So some of these cigars, we're the only ones who gets to smoke them.
Yeah. Well, but
They don't
Plus
have
you
a
get
very
also
good selection.
Yeah, it depends where you, but the selection is different regionally, right? And so, SJ, to answer your question, right, depends on who you are, is what you think is important. Sure, like my father's a very well known brand, and Cohiba's very well known, and there's probably a couple other ones you could think of, like the one we had last week, the Fuentes, that are well known, but like not everybody knows those everywhere, right? So you got a group of people probably close to your age, right? You're in your 20s, right?
The top four that everybody would probably know would be Arturo Fuente, Cohiba, Partagas, and Romeo, right? I would say
but there's a selection of people. They're going to say, what are you talking about, Triplet Dad? We're talking, it's acid. Acid's the number one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not to be funny, right? But there's a whole flavored cigar thing.
I think the guys who are buying acid cigars are cutting them down the middle and filling them with stuff and then rewrapping them and then smoking them. That's what I think acid guys are doing.
It's sprinkling. I need to.
You got a purple grape stick. Yeah, I heard that you guys have a little bit of a storm cell heading your general directions.
It did not say that on the weather map at all, but I got sprinkles, so I'm just gonna give myself a little shelter here.
That's perfect.
Yeah, it's a little, but I mean, and again, when it comes to cigars and flavors and tastes and what you like, it's really all about what you like, Yeah. I mean, some people might go, "Oh, this is a great cigar," and then I smoke it and go, "I didn't like that at all."
Oh yeah, there's some of those for sure. Like I had a new cigar this week, Cinco de Mayo from Street Taco, and you guys might not have even heard of Street Taco. And but man, what a great smoke! Nice and smooth. It's a once a year cigar. They do one every year like that. But yeah, I mean, there's all sorts of different things out there. But you're right. Like some I'm like, this is trash. And then others, I'm like, I fall in love with them. I'm like, I could get a whole bunch of these.
See, there Money Gang's in chat saying he loves Churchill Romeos and Monte Cristos and Cohibas.
Monte Cristo was my first real cigar. Shout out DCC. We were at the lounge together, and he bought that one for me, and I enjoyed it. It was the first, because I had a couple flavored ones at first, right? I was just like, okay, let me try this out and see how I feel about it. And then when we all went to the lounge together, he bought me a Monte Cristo, and I was like, okay, I'm upgrading to big girl cigars now. And it was great. I actually kept it. Came in a really cool metal kind of tube, and I've kept it. I'm gonna actually turn it into a little flower, like a little vase, to put a couple flowers in.
Now,
of course, Sasto freaking hops on Cohiba B-Hype 56, the probably the most counterfeited cigar on planet Earth. Those are very hard to find real ones of those, sir.
And the real ones are expensive. That when they first launched that Cohiba Behike 56, they went to like specific distributors and said, "Hey, do you want this thing?" And there was only one woman who rolled them, and she rolled like 4,000 of them. Very famous cigar roller for Cohiba, and they made these special humidors. And I forget how many cigars were in each humidor. I think it was 40, and they paid like 15 grand for these things, and it took them like a year to get them. And then once they did get them, that was the only ones that came out, right? That special edition with the humidor and everything. And they started selling them. People, by the time they ended up, they started selling for like $1,500 a stick. And then by the time they got out there, they were $5,000 a stick, and just insane amounts of money for those. If you can find, those specific humidors, I don't think anybody's getting rid of them anymore, but they were a real special when they launched that Behike.
So on the cigars we don't like note, I tried I wanted it because the name, you guys, it was called a Cuatro Cinco. So I was like, oh, it's a Cuatro Cinco, I gotta try it. And I wouldn't get it again. I wouldn't get the one I had again, but I would maybe try a different variety. The first third of it was just gross. Like it was just, I was like, okay, maybe if I get to the second third. And for those of you who don't know, the flavor changes as you smoke the cigar. So it's kind of in thirds. There's a first, second, and third. And the by the time it got to about the middle of the cigar, it was more palatable, had a little more flavor, and I smoked it while I was there. But yeah, I just, for the first third of it, I was like, this tastes like grass and hay. And I was
Hey.
Sometimes when you get some funky cigar like that, if you by any chance had a couple of them, right? Take the other one and throw them in the humidor and let them sit there. And sometimes they will turn into something decent. Sometimes it's just like how you left the last one.
Yeah. And I see Pete Chad Sailor says, just ask for a mild cigar, SJ, and you will enjoy it. I'm not a big mild cigar. Honestly, like I need that kind of like flavor. I like Maduros. I kind of like a little bit on the spicy side. I love if there's any chocolate notes in it. I mean, I tend to have a little bit of chocolate with my cigar. It's I
always pair with a couple pieces of chocolate, and tonight it's a black raspberry sparkling water that I'll be pairing my cigar with.
Nice. I just have plain water today.
I got my black coffee. Hey, here's a trivia question for you, SJ. What musical instruments are made from cigar boxes?
I forget what they're called, but it's like a little guitar. Bing, bing, bing.
Guitar. Guitar is number one.
There's another one.
Oh yeah, there's a bunch. They make ukuleles, violins,
okay,
fiddles,
dilly bows.
Trick question.
And dulcimers. Dulcimer. Is that the right pronunciation for that?
Yeah.
Dulcimer. Yeah.
I have enough cigar boxes to supply an orchestra.
I know, dude. My computer monitor is actually sitting on cigar boxes.
That's awesome.
To raise it up is that's how much you got. Yeah, but pretty cool. Now, anybody who's gone out to wine country, out with right above you guys, right out in California, that's like a staple in the I saw, at least in the touristy spots. You go into a wine wine store and you'll see these guitars, and I've even seen an electric guitar.
Wow.
Yeah, mine's electric. I have one. I have an electric cigar box guitar.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's got 4 strings and it's electric. Yeah. And they sound really nice. They got that Mississippi Delta blues sound to them.
Where's my harmonica? Let's go.
There you go.
We can start a jam band. I'm in.
Let's see.
Yeah, now that you're a deadhead.
Yeah. Welcome, Hex T. Armstrong. Nice to see you in here, buddy.
Hex T.
RH Max's point. Yes,
that
100%.
The Cubans try and hustle you on the streets in Havana and give you some trash ass cigars all the time. That's true. My brother came back from Cuba, and he brought me a couple of cigars. They look real nice. I'm like, oh, okay, thanks. I put them in the humidor. I'm like, these are probably just trash from the streets or whatever. And then he came over there and I said, hey, where did you end up getting those cigars? He goes, oh man, we went to the farm. I said, what? He goes, yeah, we were in the valley. We went to this farm, that rolled for Cohiba. They got to visit the farm, and they gave us some straight roll right there. So these are actually, I got a couple from one of the farms that rolls the Cohibas, and I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna put these away. So I was just gonna smoke them, but I held on them for a while, so I'm glad I did. So they actually should be pretty good when I do give them a try.
Nice.
I have a picture of what we talked about last week. I can't put it on, but there was at the cigar shop we went to, there was some Placentas with plume on them. Oh,
really?
Yeah. I will I don't know if I could send this to you guys.
Sensias are the best, man. I just love that brand so much. It's hard
Yeah.
for me to stray from.
I haven't had a bad one. I gotta say, I haven't had a bad one.
Yeah, they had a big ass box of placentas, and they all had little white dots on it. And I'm going, God, I want to buy one of those right now.
I'm trying to save the ash for my garden. I'm pretty sure that's a.
What tomatoes are you growing, SJ? I saw some tomato plants in the background when the camera
Just
was
one.
pivoted.
I just have one cherry tomato. Unfortunately, no one in my family really eats them. So I'm trying to grow things. A huge reason I planted this garden. I mean, that's my heart. I worked on organic farms. I've done that kind of stuff for years. In my last place I lived in Austin, before I moved into my Sprinter van, I had a huge front yard garden. Banana tree, tomatoes, loofah, all sorts of stuff. Well, my mom she's got flowers out here. And over the years, I've planted things. I planted a fig tree for her. I planted a cherry tree. And a big part of it is I'm trying to get her to come out here more and do more.
Yeah.
So, all right, if I can plant things that she likes to eat, she's interested in, I'm hoping she'll kind of catch on and come out with me every now and then and do something. But it's tough, she's kind of a little set in her ways, and I'm gonna do it anyways, right? I love growing this stuff. So I got just one cherry tomato. I've got a whole plethora. I have a plethora of plants out here. I'm super excited. I didn't post it yet, but I have my very first blueberry showed up on my blueberry. I have 2 blueberry bushes, and my very first blueberry came out.
You haven't netted or no?
Not yet. I am probably going to do that soon because the birds for sure they get the figs, and I haven't been around the cherry tree though. Last season it gave us a couple cherries, and I'm wondering if just I was, we were traveling for the tour, so I was gone a lot. I'm wondering if we would have had more, but maybe the birds kind of got them before they were, too ripe. So I'm in the middle of doing a lot of that work right now. I've been in the garden every morning, just setting things up. I'm going to order a big trellis because I'm planting a lot of squash. I love squash. I've got a bunch of zucchini. I bought a honey nut plant, which is similar to butternut. So I've got honey nut. I've got pumpkin. I have a really cool squash called a patty pan, and that they look like little saucers. And those are delicious. So yeah, I'll be me. I'll be posting about it. This is passion fruit right here. So
That's awesome.
Yeah, really excited to see this passion fruit kind of take over this trellis here and give me some shade.
Maybe take a look at the chat, SJ. I don't know if you guys can fix that up. Robert, I have not had good pipe tobacco before. I was given a bunch of pipes from my grandpa. I have a collection of pipes that I've never smoked out of them though.
Hey, real quick, guys, that's on someone else's channel. Someone else is watching on one of your YouTube channels, and I'm unable to ban or move them.
All right. I'll check mine.
Yeah, I've had. I actually smoked a pipe more than I smoked cigars back about 15 years ago and stuff. And I've had some really good pipe tobacco, and the same I had some handed down to me.
Never piped tobacco.
What's that?
I've never piped tobaccoed. I've never done that.
No, it's a little more involved. You have to, you choose your flavor, or whatever, and you have to pack them right. And some pipes smoke better than others, and whatnot, and they don't last as long as a cigar, but yeah, I mean, you can keep packing them, that's for sure.
It's not on my channel. Could be on Twitter, you guys.
No, it's a YouTube.
It's got to be Twitter. It's not showing up on my YouTube.
Weird.
So,
Interesting.
Wow. Hey, it's marketing, right?
It
Getting
is.
some attention.
I guess so.
It doesn't matter. We used to have some real weird stuff showed up years ago.
Come at me, bro.
What did Kelleher said? Pipe tobacco is smoother. Yeah, it is. It is, and they got different flavors, but I like the flavor of a cigar more. To be completely honest, I did like pipe tobacco, but cigars just seem to have a better bite to them. I like them better.
Yeah, but you'd be a lot smarter if you smoke a pipe.
It does look a little
I don't
bit
know
more
about that.
like you have great ideas, contemplating the universe when you have a pipe, right? The best thing about pipe, my grandpa smoking a pipe when I was a kid, was that Christmas presents were always easy, right? And back then you had tobacco stores and malls, right? They don't have those anymore. And you'd go into the tobacco store and they would have a huge wall of tobaccos, some cigars, usually pocket knives and stuff like that, right? Just crazy stuff. And it was really easy to get grandpa presents, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely changing out there. The tobacco atmosphere is definitely changing. I mean, and I mean, I get it with the problems with the vapes and the problem, with cigarettes and all the additives and the diseases and stuff. And I mean, let's face it, none of this is really any good for you. But there's something to be said about relaxing and taking it easy, getting some meditation time in, because if I come out here by myself, I'm out here for an hour and a half, nobody's bothered me, and I'm just chilling. It's finally just shut everything off, not in there yelling and screaming at my computer because I can't get crypto over the freaking bridge. But
a bridge too far.
Oh my goodness.
For those of you who are fans of basketball, I've got my camera here, my laptop here, and the game over there. And the New York just won their whole series, so they're going to go play the Celtics, I believe. Yeah, just happened. Final score 116-113. If you are watching our show instead of staying on top of the NBA playoffs, I'm going to keep you up to date on live scores.
Yeah, my boy Sasto says I bother you. Yeah, it's funny. He calls me and we FaceTime and smoke cigar. He's in Vegas and I'm here, and we'll sit down, just hit the FaceTime on and smoke cigar and talk shit and yeah, it's chill time, man. I dig it.
Money's asking me who my team is. My team is the Warriors, right? But I do think that the Thunder is gonna take everything this year. The Thunder is freaking phenomenal.
I've never really been into sports in general, but I dated someone once that lived in San Francisco, and I got to tell you, watching the Warriors play, man, they're something else. They're a lot of fun to watch.
And they've just added a guy named Jimmy Butler, aka Jimmy Buckets, and that guy is a phenomenal. He's taken everything up to another level. I kind of went that way too, right? I went full no sports. It's the opium of the masses, blah, 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 right? The whole tinfoil hat, I'm not into it type of deal. And then I just figured out, it relaxes me, just like cigars relax me, right? So why not just watch some games here and there? And if I'm have the time, watch a few games. I'm not going to limit myself just because I think it's keeping everybody dumb. I don't think that's necessarily the case. It's good stuff.
Yeah, and that's mostly what you're going to see in a cigar lounge, right?
Yeah, 100%. When we were there, right, the Knights were playing the hockey team when we were all there not a month ago. The four TVs, all with the same thing on the same side of the store. All four had the Knights on it.
Yeah.
Is that a gas fire behind you, Captain, or is that
Yeah. It's just an ambiance fire. I mean, it gets warm. You get back here, it gets nice and warm, but it is outdoors, so it's just a little ambiance.
Nice.
My little outdoor. I got a fire table in front of me here that lights up, and I got this thing back here. makes it nice to come out here and chill.
Josh Soleil is rooting for the Knicks. Money Gang, Bronny's kid, I think played a handful of games this year. He did okay in the minutes he played. The Knights just won tonight, so we're getting our sports updates in the chat, you guys.
Yeah, I was a big Laker fan until when Kobe passed away. I couldn't watch basketball. Man, it just killed me. And then I got busy, and I've turned into sports is just a waste of time. I barely have time to go watch my kid's game. He's playing basketball. They're undefeated right now. They've got one more weekend, and then they go to the championships if they win, and they should. They're an only undefeated team, so that's been a lot of fun watching my little boy play.
Ooh, we've got a trivia question in the chat. Hex T. Armstrong wants to know. He says it's officially hockey season now. Do you know who was the first U.S. hockey team to win the Stanley Cup?
I'm going to guess Penguins.
Wasn't the Kings?
I'm going to guess the Kings because that's one of the only teams I know.
I thought it was the Kings, but it might not have been.
The Mighty Ducks?
Boston.
Hey,
the Mighty Ducks.
Do you guys remember when the Ducks first started playing? Now,
I do.
That was back in the 90s, probably 92, 93, I'd say. And they literally, so I'm at my boy's house. We're watching the first Ducks hockey game, right? Because it's like, hey, we got another team out here. Let's watch the hockey game. And we're watching the hockey game, and the Ducks scored the first goal, and literally on the screen, they had a little Tinkerbell came out and flew around the screen and tapped the player with her little wand and with some like pixie dust. And we were like, what in the hell was that? And they did that like the first game or two, and then that was it. They finally stopped that. But they were literally doing that because that was it. Disney owned the team at the time.
It was Disney, yeah.
Yeah.
Disney owned. Yeah, that was the first one of the first sports games I ever attended was a Mighty Ducks game with a cousin of mine who was a big fan, and I enjoyed it. That's actually I've now been to 2 hockey games. I went to that one many moons ago. That was in the 90s at some point. And then just recently, back in November, I took a trip, did a little drive solo trip up to Seattle. Got to hang out with Hex P&W. Shout out to my girl up there. And she took me to a, what are they called?
Kraken.
The Kraken game. Oh, it was so fun. Oh, that was a great time too. I loved it. I grew up listening to grunge, so it was really cool that they intermix. A lot of their songs have like they use Nirvana for one of their chants, and that was a really fun game.
The Sasso says Seattle Metropolitans was the first hockey team in the U.S. to win the Stanley Cup. I'm not sure if that's
way back in the day.
How California got 3 hockey teams with no naturally occurring ice is amazing to me, right? It has always baffled me how we manage that. I know that we have large media districts or media areas in this state, but holy mackerel, California will just root for anything, man.
They gotta have ice somewhere.
What about the Jamaican bobsled team?
Up in Tahoe, yeah, exactly. It's just like that. How did that work? Tahoe has some ice, right? But that's like the only place, maybe up by Shasta and Lassen. But there's not enough people there to even root for a G League team.
Yeah, man, that must be so different for you guys growing up. Because for us, when we were growing up, it got cold enough, you grab your skates and went down the street.
Yeah, and that's probably how you've come accustomed to smoking cigars indoors, because there's a large portion of the year where you cannot smoke outside.
Yeah, I like smoking outside the best. But yeah, it's getting to be that time now. It's May. But yeah.
Oh, the moon. Hi, moon.
Yeah, I imagine. Trip with Dad. Were you out? You always been in California, kind of warm weather.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So probably the kind of stuff I would remember, you wouldn't think of at all. Like for us, it was literally we all had skates, man. I didn't play hockey except uh, in the neighborhood, but I wasn't very good at it. And by the way, skating over ice that has weeds and reeds sticking out of it kind of stinks. But
When I was a kid, we hoped that it was cloudy for Christmas.
Yeah, that was it, right? Like I remember it was foggy one time, and that was like the shit, right? It was like, oh shit.
Yeah, it was like hoping for it to be gray and gloomy so we could stay inside and play with our stuff. But I think maybe once in my lifetime it snowed on Christmas here. But that was like a 100-year thing.
Yeah.
So we got a question from the audience.
I've gone surfing on Christmas Day multiple times.
Yeah, I've rode dirt bikes on Christmas Day lots of times.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Drew Estate Deadwood. I've never had a Deadwood, Eddie. Is it good?
Yeah. They're pretty decent.
Well, the Deadwood,
they're good.
That's that Fat Betty, right? Is that the Deadwood cigar brand?
They got a whole bunch of cigars.
I've had Fat Bottom Betty.
That's a Deadwood cigar.
The cigar.
Yeah. I think that's their cigar.
Yeah, they got Fat Bottom Betty, Crazy Alice.
What's
the one? Baby Jane. The one that I smoked is Leather Rose mostly. Those are around. They're out in Vegas too, pretty heavily. You'll see those in a lot of shops. It's kind of got that like Mexican Day of the Dead kind of visual with an attractive woman, but she's made up. Of course, it's not a real picture, but it's attractive. So people like that. Yeah, I like Drew Estate pretty good.
Yeah, good cigars.
So believe it or not, there are studies out there that say that cigar smokers live on average 9 years longer than other people as compared to other people. I forget if we were talking about it or somebody else was talking about it. What's the number one reason for that? What do you think?
I think it's low stress because when I'm doing cigars or guys with a pipe fall in that same category, right? The quintessential thing you think of is somebody down in the South sitting on their porch with a pipe in their hand, just rocking on a chair, right? Contemplating the universe. I know that when I used to smoke cigarettes, right, long ago, I think I've been no cigarettes for over 20 years, right? That's a stress thing, right? When I'm stressed, I smoke. When I'm happy, I smoke. When I'm after a meal, I smoke. Blah 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 blah. Right? This is like a time of my day where I freaking sit down, relax, have a cigar, and just freaking think about what I'm doing tomorrow, what I'm done today. It's more of a relaxing thing than anything else. I don't think a lot of people take time to just relax, right? I bet you it has the same increase with yoga, right?
Probably.
I do both. Sweet.
And
yeah, you got 18 years coming to you, SJ. No problem.
Let's go.
I mean, being in your 20s, you got a long time to go.
And the other
Let's keep
thing
that for life.
is like,
I love it.
When you're stressed out, when you're a cigarette smoker, when you're stressed out, you smoke. When you're busy, you smoke. You use it as a soothing thing, right?
Yeah.
But when you're too busy and you're working too hard and you don't have time to go out and smoke, you don't smoke a cigar. You don't go get one. You don't have the time to do it, and so you do it when you've got some time, and I think that's another reason why it's good. Right down
just Haku, I'm not sure if that's the right pronunciation. I'm not sure I'd try that. Maybe I would. I don't know. I do smoke my cigar butts, so I might like them in a pot. I
need to get a holder because I do that. I mean, I get down to the finger
tweezer, man.
Yeah, I don't have a holder yet.
So my wife steals all the tweezers in the house. because that's what she does. I don't know where my tweezers end up. So I go and I on Amazon and I bought this 15 pack of tweezers that showed up in this like roll up tool bag, and I got 15 tweezers and I opened
You
them
get
up
hidden all over the house.
and I showed them to her and I said, "These are my tweezers." And I rolled them back up and I took them to the garage, and that's what I use to smoke cigars. They're awesome. Right, when
so
I get talking about there.
So we haven't talked much crypto this show, but I did want to kind of drop a little bit of the news from this weekend there. I'll kind of give our 2 bits in on it. I don't know if you guys have been watching the Circle/Ripple drama going on, and the stablecoin legislation that's looking to come out. Have you guys boned up on any of that?
Teach me, baby.
I just saw that XRP threw a bid out there for Circle, and the offer was too low and it was declined, right?
Yeah, I heard that.
But I only saw those highlights, buddy. So if you have more to share, I'd love to hear it.
Negotiating tactic.
Hold on 1 second.
I'm not sure I want XRP guys to have Circle, honestly.
I gotta say the same thing.
So they're jerks.
Well,
then you'll have Circle jerks. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, you might. That was a good punk band, but not good in practice of business. Circle jerk is a negative thing.
Yeah. So, my opinion is that they're with this new stablecoin legislation that's about to pop. I think that they're really trying to see who's gonna run the show. I mean, the stablecoin that gets the legislation is going to run the show, and they're getting ready to pop that in. Now, they put legislation together for stablecoin regulation, but Brian Armstrong threw a wrench in it and said,
"Oh, we lost your audio."
We lost your audio, Captain.
Okay.
Keep going, man. I'm reading his lips.
Can't hear you.
Brian Armstrong loves Circle.
Can we message him? I'm
on it. Producers.
Hex Armstrong says gravelly voice is well earned after dedicated years of smoking. That's true, buddy. Anyone do nasal snack?
How about now?
Way
You're
better,
back.
buddy.
You're back.
Okay. Yeah, I got to get this. Technical issues all day today. None of my computers would work. I couldn't get anything to work out here. So
it's China. It's China.
iPad.
Yeah. Everything updated today too, by the way.
Everything but the bridge. The bridge didn't update.
Well, maybe it did update. That's the problem.
Yeah, iOS had an update. My laptop's updated. My phone. Android had an update.
Lost him.
Yeah, and we'll have to update him soon.
I'll tell you the whole stablecoin thing, because I'm in stablecoins pretty heavily now. My little adventures and all this, and what it just jumps out to me, it's probably always been this way, but like I'm even talking about stablecoins, and this is exactly where the opportunity is, right? Almost nobody who just heard that cares anything about stablecoins, right? But if you think about it from like institutions or these companies that get greenlit through to do whatever they're going to do, man, they're able to dump like a shit ton of value into these stables and just earn like 20%, 30% a year on that money. And some of it's fractional reserve type stuff, I guess. I don't know enough about it, but man, there's so much money there. And here's the thing is they're earning that on our backs.
Yeah.
Not that we're on our back. What it is, man, we're out here. You're like, hey, I'm going to do a swap. Okay, I'm going to take the 5% slippage. Where do you think that's going? It's making its way back to the stable pools, man, and getting extracted into those people's pockets, those companies.
So I know that you guys have been in crypto forever, but I don't know if you guys participated on BNB during like BNB summertime, right?
I was too high and mighty for that.
Yeah, I was full
was
DJing.
XO
I was wearing these glasses, right? My DJing glasses. But you started to see, I started to see guys that were just rolling around with $200,000 LPs, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they would just, everybody was using Pancake Swap to create their LPs. So they would create a $200,000 LP on freaking Pancake Swap, and they would just move it from farm to farm to farm to farm to farm, and just eat reward tokens like nobody's business, right? And that's what you're saying, right? That all they were sucking up value like nobody's business. So they were going, whenever they saw a 40% yield stable farm, they were moving.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah,
why not? Now, right now, our volumes are real low, on Pulse Chain, but it's not beyond being able to get 10-20% APR on Pulse Chain with stables, right? And there's some pools that cook, and if you're willing to be a liquidity locust, and push the buttons, you can move, and I don't like that a whole lot, but I mean, I just recognize, because I'm looking at this information every single day, and some of these things are going on. It's just insane, the amount of reward that people being accrued, and most of that isn't even in farms, right? Most of it's just straight up in the tokens, the native tokens that are being put up there,
I have to admit, I took a big chunk of stables for me at least, right, and threw it into Fast Abdul's print ink dollar
diorama. Yep.
And sucked up some yield there. I think that's still in the 20s, mid 20% ish.
Oh yeah. I mean, my pools are they've been out of the money for about a week. They're still at 100% APR.
Yeah,
because when they were in, right, people were just going back and forth chasing the print and the ink D and all this other stuff, and just spinning that top, but yeah, I mean, it's a real thing. But it was going all the way back to this companies. I can see why some people much smarter than me probably kind of came to the conclusion that, and that's why they keep talking about stable coins being the narrative, right? Sami's talking about it, a bunch of other these influencers talking about it, is because if you can come in with the biggest bag and you're providing that liquidity, you're just going to be able to earn while everybody's migrating across these bridges and on chain. Somebody's paying the toll,
Yep.
100% agree with that.
Yep. That's the game.
Look what we're willing to do, or we're willing to do back when Coinbase first started. Those ridiculous fees, man.
Oof. Big fees. Oh my gosh. Coming in.
Beached Whale says, when was the last time a company attempted to buy a company and the public knew about it before the deal was done?
Well, yeah. Well, somebody poison pilled it, probably, if that's the case, right?
Yeah. And to Eddie, I don't care if Matty Allen does anything to his hair. I don't care if he goes and gets a perm. But if he got a haircut, that is pretty wild.
If he went really, I don't know that that's true, but if he did, I would like to see him get a mohawk first, because that would have been really cool. Get the mohawk and then go short, right? Because at that point, if you're going to cut it down, you might as well.
Is he? What is the charitable foundation for locks for kids or something like that?
Lots of love.
Lots of love. Yeah.
A couple times.
So if Matty Allen cut off all of his hair, I hope it was donated to Locks of Love. Let's just say that.
Nice.
This has been a great.
All right, fellas. Well, we're all done with our cigar. Well, I think Crispy's on his second one, right?
Nah, I've been talking a lot tonight, so I'm not quite done. But it's okay. I can be done. I heard last week I'm supposed to pound it out, right, to make it go out. Is that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can do what you want, of course, but they just stink. If you're in a lounge, it's not a good thing to do. People kind of don't like that when you snuff them out in the lounge. Makes them stink.
So I think Monkey watched the stream last week, right? And yesterday when he was done with the cigar, he was about ready to go like this, and then he set it down. And so I think he picked up on the tip. It was pretty cool.
Monkey, yeah. I sent him some pictures of my cigars. I by the way, I sent you guys pictures too. I hand rolled my own cigars. They were tasty. They were tasty. That's for sure. They don't look too good, but they definitely came out tasty.
Looks like a Clint Eastwood cigar, buddy, like a Kentucky Cheroot.
Those are okay though.
I love Kentucky Cheroot.
It takes practice, man. It's like making a Dalmat or something, right?
Man, it is tough. I mean, I think that the most important thing is having the right tobacco too. It's one, you get this stuff and you mail order it and it's just beat to shit when you get it, and who knows where it's been and where it came from. But the wrapper just, it was not very smooth and easy to roll with. The veins were real thick, and the binders and everything wasn't too rough to put together, because that's a rough, roll anyway. But that finish, when you finish it up with the wrapper, that's the hard part.
Yeah, and it makes you freaking realize when you're doing stuff like that, when you see an Atabe or the bee hike, and you see an entire wrapper around a giant cigar that looks like glass, how hard it is to get that particular wrapper, because that's unbelievable. How
and I've
they
seen them do it, and they do it in like seconds. It's like zip, 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 done, and
just the leaf itself not to be veiny and stuff like that, right? It's unreal.
Yeah, they're really, when you look at a cigar like that, if you've ever tried to do it, I mean, you can appreciate the craftsmanship that goes in it. And that's also something that makes them different than, cigarettes and everything else, is that there's an art to that, all of that. These people, they've been doing this for centuries, and their families have been doing it. And some of these people are in these cigar factories for, 25, 30, 40 years rolling cigars, I mean, just 100, 200 cigars a day, just insane amounts of these things, and just getting so good at their craft. And it's really like an art,
Hex Armstrong asked you about the bridge, buddy.
Did he?
Yeah.
Can we talk about the bridge? Better, more secure than others? I'm going to have to say it is. It's been. I haven't seen any problems with the bridge, other than every now and again it either gets clogged up or you get stuck. And I've never had that happen before, but over the last couple of days, moving some stuff back and forth, I got stuck here, and it's been kind of a pain in the ass. But
so back in the day, before, like during or right before the Pulse Chain Sacrifice, when Ty and I started streaming long ago, right? We were doing tutorial videos, right? We did the first Change Now video to bring people, so show people how to bridge money in, right? We did all of that. I took $20 and moved it from chain to chain to chain to chain to chain. And I went from B&B to Phantom to I think I went to 4 or 5 different chains, then bounced it off a KuCoin and sent it back to myself, right? And each one of those transactions was taking sometimes 5 to 10 minutes, right? It wasn't bad, but having a 5-minute transaction or a 10-minute transaction, or even going from Ethereum to Sonic right now, right? Just not sticking with our typical blockchains we talk about, right? But going from Ethereum to Sonic, that was at least a 10-minute transaction moving ETH to Sonic. It's not a unnatural thing to have a 10-minute transaction. Now, if you have one that's stuck, like the captain has, that also happens. And I've had that happen on every other chain, not just Pulse chain. Transactions get stuck. It just happens.
Yeah. And I remember when we were, what was it, Matic Network? That one
Oh
was
yeah, you get
taking
to tell
like,
the Hexo story. Yeah.
oh, 24 hours. Yeah, I was you know, I convinced Hexo to get into it and bridge over and whatnot, and he did, and his stuff got stuck for 24 hours. He was freaking out.
So during the sacrifice, when we were assisting with pools, we had people send Matic tokens in, right? When I freaking told them I hate Matic, don't send Matic tokens, right? Just for that reason. And they sent one. Somebody sent like freaking $1,000 on Matic, and it freaking hung, 100% hung. And not only did it hang in one MetaMask wallet, it affected the transactions on other chains within MetaMask. 100% it did. It was the most god awful thing. Matic was awful back in the day. That is supposed to have gotten better since, but oh my gosh. Yeah, Hexy was there because I used to live stream it on Telegram. People could see my screen, so they would know nothing funky was going on, right? Pulse Rica was there. It was the absolute worst.
Yeah, there's nothing like having your money or your crypto just sitting out in limbo somewhere with a transaction that's just stopped. It's not in your wallet. It's nowhere to be found. It just kind of, yeah, it's on the dark side of the moon, basically.
then I think people started sending me Matic just to get on my nerves, which was freaking funny, but not at the time.
Yeah. Yep. Well, I mean, as far as this question goes, I think it's safe. I think bridging is probably like the Achilles heel of crypto at this point, as far as technology goes. You know, I mean, that and scammers. You know, it's the tech that needs to be updated. But I mean, when you look at what Pulse Chain has, compared to everything else out there, we've got it all. We've got the bridge, we've got the exchanges, we've got all of the you name it. There isn't an EVM product out there that's not on Pulse Chain, that's not being utilized elsewhere. So I mean, we've got it all, and hopefully soon we'll start seeing some updates to the Block Explorer and everything else. And I mean, it can only go up from here as far as the quality of the tech goes, in my opinion. I just think it's still got some way to go.
That's a good suggestion right there. If you've got 15 G's that you want to move from one chain to another, do it in blocks.
Yeah.
Do it in blocks. 100% true, bud. Great suggestion. You might pay gas 3 times, but you don't. You are mitigating your risk there.
Nature provides, guys. I found a stick.
Sticks are awesome.
Right on. All right, guys. Well, I'm ready to call this one. I appreciate you all showing up, and everybody listen to us talk about cigars and a little bit of crypto and the rest of the BS. Hopefully some of you got to join us and have a stick with us. It's always a relaxing experience for me. So I enjoy my cigar time, and hopefully we're reaching out to some of the cigar community out there, and letting you know that hey, crypto's not scary, crypto's not hard, and it's also disruptive, just like the cigar world is. I think that as time goes on here, cigars are going to get more popular. It's going to be the tobacco that survives. I think that it is the disruptor in the industry, and they're already starting to see some favorable legislation on the cigar side too, where they're differentiating it from the other stuff that's out there, because premium cigars are a lot less dangerous for you than all the other stuff out there. Again, not condoning cigar smoking or tobacco smoking, period. But there's something to be said about being able to relax for a good hour and a half, talk to people, hang out, and talk crypto. So with that,
and also, you guys, if you have any suggestions of cigars that you would like us to do on a show, just remember, we all try to smoke something different within that brand, right? So, like if it's Ashton or Olivas, give us a shout. We would love to go out and get a bunch of Placentas or a bunch of
I will be
Olivas
back for that show.
and have a go at it. So we love suggestions. Throw it in the chat.
Yeah, Beachwell says you didn't give my take. Well, my take is that I think that the because of legislation, and because Circle is the big dog in the stable coin realm, and Ripple's trying to bust in and make that big acquisition. There's jockeying for position going on, and I don't know how it's going to turn out. I don't even know how I'd like to see it turn out. But that needs to be watched closely, because that is going to be, the key to the city, the coin of the realm, whatever. Whoever gets the favorable stablecoin legislation, whoever gets control of the stablecoin that gets tapped by the authorities as being the legit or the stablecoin, that's who's going to make the rules. That's who's going to, turn you on, turn you off, let you trade for it or what. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see where it all goes and what happens. But watch the legislation close. Watch where this thing goes with Circle, and I think it's going to have a big impact on us all around when it does finally get decided.
I agree. There's a movie about that, right? He who rules the spice rules the universe. That's very, very similar. Those stable coins, stores of value. When you have people that look at Bitcoin dominance or stable coin dominance, right? And you see a downwards spiraling market, everybody's flooding into stable coins. That's a big deal. There's money to be made there.
Yeah, 100%. And it's particularly when you get into the stables, it's kind of like when you talk about risk management and TradFi, where you might have cash or cash-like assets, and you allocate a certain percentage. They'll usually do, like, if you wanted to be like super risky, it's like 20%, right? You would allocate to cash-like assets. In crypto, maybe it's a much smaller number, but there's no reason not to get yourself set up with exposure that way, right? And then you just manage it like you manage anything else, because you know what doesn't go down. Sure, we may have an unpegging or something like that might happen, or a depegging, but those are brief. We saw one of those, right, over the last few years where that happened and things came back. Your value doesn't go down.
No,
right?
and if you want to make quick money and you see freaking Circle token, any stable token, USDT, USDC, DAI for 93 cents or 86 cents for a couple of seconds, buy it. 100% buy it. You will make 6% in 24 hours.
That wasn't what happened when it did it that one time. When it did it that one time, it scared the hell out of everybody. And
it did, but I bought I bought a ton. I bought a ton of stable coins when that happened.
Good. But yeah, you gotta. I mean, it's all about, you know, what's going on behind the scenes, because these things are backed by big money. You know, there's big money, big companies, and big legislation going on right now, and we ain't those people. And nobody that we know is those people. And that's what you've got to keep an eye on. So don't get yourself caught in the middle of something, everybody. Keep an eye on it. So yeah, that's my opinion on it.
Very true.
All right, everybody. SJ, you got access
bud.
to the outro.
It's
Thanks
the
for
same
coming.
as the intro. someday
Same
we'll
as
have
the
some more.
outro.
Yeah, the
Same as
producer's been out busy, so we'll get everything dialed in here a little more and get the tech better with my streaming stuff and everything else. But thanks for coming, everybody. We'll catch you next week on Burn It All. We're gonna have a different stick, and we'll announce that later on this week. And so join us, smoke cigar, bring your friends, and we'll talk a little bit of crypto. Have a good one, everyone.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.